Hello, welcome to Heidi Relationships. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy the video. The first story is titled, I 23F, think my boyfriend 27M, is cheating with a girl from his work. What should I do? My boyfriend has an office job and I often stop by my boyfriend's office during the week and we'll get lunch together. I noticed a coworker of his, Sarah, there a couple times because she was at the front desk when I went in. I think I only remembered her because she has a strong British accent and my parents are British. My boyfriend had never mentioned her to me. One day when I came home from work, I heard a female voice through the door of our apartment, and it sounded just like her. I stopped and listened for a moment but couldn't hear much, and then went in, and found my boyfriend was home alone. I asked who he was talking to and he said no one and looked at me strange, but I'm sure he must have been talking on his phone with her, maybe FaceTiming or on speakerphone. Then like a week later he said he had to work late, which didn't happen very often at all, but I didn't think much of it. While he was at work, I called him about something else and then I heard her voice in the background again and laughter. He had a few more late nights in succession because he was working on a project, he said, and on one other occasion I heard her in the background again. Then, when I went to the office one day she was on the front desk and acted really unfriendly and cold towards me. By this point I was getting suspicious. Next, I was coming home from work one night and I saw her walking right in front of our apartment building, as if she had just left the front doors. Then one night I had gone to bed early and again I heard her voice coming from our living room. I came out of our bedroom and my boyfriend was just closing the front door to the hallway. He said that he was talking to one of our neighbors but I'm 100% sure I heard her voice. My guess is that maybe she had shown up thinking I was away or something. When I've brought up Sarah in conversation my boyfriend always pretends that he doesn't even know her at all and that they've hardly ever spoken, which makes me think he's hiding her from me since they work together. So, I have no real evidence, I guess, but I keep hearing her and seeing her and I just have this real sense that something is going on with this girl and that there are too many coincidences to ignore. What do I do about it? I haven't told him anything about it yet. Is that what I should do? A user in the comments said, I think what made me suspicious was hearing that you saw her in front of your apartment building. I mean, what are the odds that she both works with your BF and also lives there? And for what it's worth, when I was being cheated on, he didn't mention the girl to me whatsoever, despite telling me about everyone else in his life. And he downplayed his interactions with her until I knew the truth. For now, though, you don't have any proof, so I'm not going to definitively say, OMG he's cheating. But I will tell you to keep your eyes open. And keep trying to communicate with him about it as well. You could also try surprising him at home sometime, since it seems there's a possibility she might be coming over when she thinks you aren't there. Another commenter said, I'd advise to keep your eyes and ears open but not mention a word to your BF. If anything, act more loving and carefree to throw him off because that's when he'll get sloppy. Once he knows you're onto him he will be more careful if he is cheating. I'd finish work early and not tell him and come home. Does he always tell you when he's staying at home? Do you suspect her to come over during weekends or evenings when you're working? Whenever you're suspecting tell him you're going out and leave then pop back home because you felt sick or plans changed etc. If you're generally not paranoid, this is your intuition. The next story is titled, Update, I 23F, think my boyfriend 27M, is cheating with a girl from his work. What should I do? I had a whole bunch of people message me asking for an update on this, so, well, here's the update, I guess. It's been a difficult few days. So, I made that post on Friday afternoon. That night I tried to ask a bit more about Sarah, just to see how he would react and such. He didn't say much though, just that he didn't know her well. The next morning was Saturday and my boyfriend was up early and then said we needed to talk. He seemed really nervous and basically just said that he was worried about me and that he thought I needed to get some help. He said I kept talking about this girl Sarah that he barely knew and that I was saying strange things that didn't make sense. I got angry and started listing off all of the things I put in my post, but he just got upset and said that he needed me to understand that these things didn't happen. We went back and forth like this for a while, but he was so adamant that I started to get scared. Something I didn't mention in my post is that I have epilepsy. It's controlled by medication so that I haven't had a seizure in 3 years, but I have a neurologist that follows me. So, I called his office and went in yesterday morning with my boyfriend. I told him everything that had been going on and my boyfriend did the same from his perspective. He said that at one point on Friday night I had asked him about why he communicated with Sarah using the neural Wi-Fi and not me, which obviously sounds bizarre, and yet I remember thinking that too and thinking that it made sense. The bottom line is that my boyfriend is not cheating. In fact, he doesn't really know Sarah other than a few interactions at work. Instead, my neurologist's working theory is that I am having auditory, and perhaps, though less likely, visual hallucinations related to my epilepsy. I guess that can be a symptom of the type of epilepsy that I have. It's called temporal lobe epilepsy. It's hard to describe, but even as I'm writing this, I still feel suspicious of her and my boyfriend, even though I know that nothing is actually going on. I have an MRI scheduled and then they will know more. We're planning to adjust my medications and the MRI will, I guess, tell the neurologist more about what may be going on, medications to try, and whether surgical intervention is a potential treatment plan. In the meantime, I have some exercises to do so that I can sort of examine my own thoughts. My boyfriend has been really fantastic the last few days, sort of taking charge of everything because I feel quite out of it and lost with all of this. You find yourself wondering what else might have been hallucinations and really self-conscious about what you're saying. I have a referral to a specialist to discuss that with too. So, yeah. I'm scared but also really happy to have my boyfriend with me too. I'm still processing things. Thanks to everyone for the advice that I guess I didn't really need in the end, lol. I'm not sure what else to say. Thanks. The next story is titled, My 18F Best Friend, 18F, Cheated on Her Boyfriend, 21M, Got Pregnant and is lying that he's the dad. Should I tell him? Okay, this is a crazy roller coaster. Also, I know this is pretty ducked up, but Natalie is a nice girl, she's my best friend. We graduated high school this summer, so our friends and I all went on a small vacation to Italy. We found a Groupon thing online, so it wasn't too expensive. Natalie is dating Eric, but he didn't come on the trip with us. It was basically a whole bunch of friends from our senior class. It's pretty well known among us friends that Dylan, who is in our high school, likes Natalie. He's like really into her. Well, when we all went to Europe, since Eric wasn't there, Natalie was all over Dylan. Acting like a couple, being all flirty. They'd sleep in the same bed, but she'd insist nothing was going on and they were just friends. Well, I shared a room with Natalie, and I walked in on them having sex. Afterwards I asked her what she was doing since she was dating Eric and she said she was on vacation and it was a one-time thing. It was not. We were there for a week and they had a ton of sex. Dylan's dreams came true that week. But only I knew about it since it was our room. Everyone else had their suspicions but I was the only one who really knew the truth. When we got back home, she promised me that she was just crazy, since she was on vacation and she'd never cheat on Eric again. She kept saying how he was amazing and perfect for her and to please not tell anyone. So, I promised to keep her little fling a secret. Ducked up, I know, but I have more loyalty to Natalie than Eric. She continued to act like everything was fine, but she recently told me that she's now pregnant, and I asked her who the father is, and she gave me this look as if I slapped her across the face. She said it's obviously Eric, and I reminded her about Dylan, and she insisted that Eric is the father and to never mention Dylan in front of her again. She's terrified since she was supposed to start college, but she told Eric and he told her not to worry and he'll take care of her and their baby and he loves her and that they'll be okay. She told me he was a little scared, but he begged her not to have an abortion and promised that he's going to be a good dad. He wants to get married before she starts showing, since they both think it looks tacky wearing a wedding dress and being obviously pregnant, so she's busy planning a quick wedding too. Y'all. Dylan is obviously the father. Like 100%. They were ducking like rabbits in Italy, and I don't think she knew how to say, "Where can I buy condoms?" in Italian. I feel bad for Eric since he's like already buying cute baby clothes and prenatal vitamins and doing research on what she needs to be eating. I love Natalie, she's my best friend, but this is so ducked up, like I feel really bad for Eric. I know she's scared, and Eric would obviously be the better dad, but come on, that's not his baby. Dylan is 18 and he's nice, but definitely not ready to be a father. Eric is older and he's graduating college soon, and he has a car and an apartment, and he's a good guy. But it's not fair for him. I know she's trying to save her own ass, but it's her fault for cheating on him. I don't know, like if I tell Eric, Natalie will hate me forever for ruining her life and her baby's life. A user in the comments said, "This guy is about to see his life circle the drain. I became a father around Eric's age unexpectedly. It's ducking hard. It is so ducking hard. Please tell him the truth. She doesn't deserve him, the baby deserves its actual father, and your friend deserves to be hit by a truck for doing this to him. Cheating is bad enough. Making a man raise a child that isn't his is one of the worst things you could ever do to someone. He seems like such a nice guy, and he's about to ruin his entire life so that his girlfriend could get laid by another guy. This just isn't fair. I feel so bad for him. You don't know what being a parent is like, I'm assuming. Especially to a newborn. Especially if that newborn has problems at birth or some kind of health problems. He's not gonna be able to sleep more than 3 hours a night for the first 6 months. Every 2 hours he's gonna need to feed it and burp it and get puked on and rock it to sleep. He's gonna not see his friends. He's gonna be broke and live paycheck to pay for formula, $75 per week, diapers, $20 to $40 per week, clothes, an entirely new wardrobe every 3 months for the first few years, a crib is hundreds, a pack and play is expensive, a rocker is expensive, I could just go on and on. He's gonna spend his whole life raising this kid just for the kid to do a 23andMe test when they're 18 and they realize he's not the father, and then they will both hate your friend, and rightly so. This is also ducked up. I wish I could plead with you face to face so you could see my eyes and know how serious this is for all of them. The very best way this can end is him learning the truth and deciding what to do with that information. I know this isn't easy on you, but this is just human decency. This kid doesn't need his whole life flipped upside down for a girlfriend that cheated on him like it was nothing, and an unborn baby that isn't his. If he's even halfway decent, he deserves so much better. The next story is titled, Update, My Best Friend, 18F, cheated on her BF, got pregnant, said that he's the dad. Don't know if I should tell him. I told Natalie that she has to either tell Eric or I will. A crappy ultimatum. But I was very serious and even typed out a text to tell him and showed her. She said she was very certain it was his baby since apparently, she only ducked Dylan PIV like 3 times, I guess I kept walking in on them and assumed it was more frequently than it was. But she told him herself. Which was a relief since I couldn't do that. She told Eric that she wasn't loyal, but the baby was his and he was angry anyway and he broke up with Natalie. The thing was she was supposed to move in with him and all that, so her plans were ruined. But yeah, I guess he didn't care after all if that was his baby or not since she cheated. IDK she was really sure that he was the father but neither wanted to pay for a paternity test since it's expensive. Listen IDK she said Dylan pulled out, but she lets Eric finish inside since she's usually on birth control. She also cut our friendship after all that and hates me now. I asked some of our other friends and she's probably gonna get an abortion because she can't do it alone. Dylan found out and thinks it's his baby and wants to be there for her, but she basically told him that he's nothing to her and duck off and never talk to her again. He still likes her, I don't know why since she's mean to him and he could get any other girl, but he liked her since elementary school. So yeah. Everything kinda sucks. I was looking forward to being an auntie. And I lost my best friend. Can't believe she's having an abortion. I wish I could be there for her to help her through it since I know she's scared but she hates me now. But my boyfriend is not too mad about her ditching me, he thinks she's crazy after this lol yeah, she's crazy but IDK she was scared and didn't know what to do. The next story is titled, My 19F BF 22M doesn't trust me anymore. How can I get him to trust me again? I've been with my BF for 4 years now, and I really love him, and he loves me too. Anyway, we've been living with each other for a year, and everything was going smoothly but he's gotten very distrustful of me over recent months. It all started when I told him I was bisexual. We go to the same university, that's how we live together. He's getting a master's and I started this year, and as soon as we started living together, he's been really distrustful of everything I do. When I go out with friends he doesn't believe me and I have to show him text messages and such with my friends, which I do because I don't mind and I would never hide anything from him, so he can believe me. I don't know what I've done to make him not trust me because he's the only boyfriend I've ever had. He was my first kiss. When I turned 16 age of consent where I am, I gave him my virginity. I feel everything I've done thus far shows I'm loyal. I don't even have male friends because of this reason, but he still doesn't trust me. Anyway, all this is to say I think the kicked into overdrive after I told him I was bisexual. Now even the new female university friends I've made I have to justify being friends with because he thinks I could cheat on him with them, which is ridiculous for reasons mentioned above. But ever since then I feel like everything I do that isn't perfect just annoys him. For example, I came back from a meetup with my best friend, let's call her Jill, who I haven't seen in 8 months. Quarantine ruined our plans. I asked what he wanted for supper. I do all the chores because his master's is a hectic workload, and he rolled his eyes and was like, IDK, ask Jill. Or when I wanted to meet a friend I met in uni, let's call her Abby, I told him we wanted to go for a coffee and he said, yeah, I'm sure that's what you're doing. He made me change the outfit I was wearing because it was too revealing for his comfort and I did, but he still doesn't trust me? I told him how what he was doing hurt me and he said he'd try to be more mindful of his language, but he hasn't and now it's bleeding into everything. One time it got really bad because he was stressed and was shut in the study area of our apartment for 8 hours and he hadn't eaten the whole day, so I prepared his favorite snack and coffee, and as soon as I opened the door he just yelled at me and said, I honestly don't need to deal with your ugly face right now. When we get into arguments he calls me a slut, but I don't know how he can because he's the only person I've ever had sex with in my entire life and he knows it, and he has access to all my social media and goes through my phone all the time, and he can see he's basically the only person besides my mother and my best friend and a uni friend that I text frequently. But I hadn't even bothered him the whole day and was just trying to be helpful and attentive. He apologized for being short with me and said it was the stress, but honestly I feel like it's his lack of trust of me that's made him more likely to be this mean to me on the day-to-day, and if it was a once-off I'd be more likely to believe it was a mistake, but he does this so many times and it's starting to affect my emotions because I feel like he doesn't love me anymore. I honestly don't know why I even told him I was bi. I thought it should be something he should know and I tell him everything, but now I'm resenting my bisexuality because it caused a series of events that lead to me ruining the only good relationship in my life and I don't even know why. I wish I just kept it to me. My question is, what can I do? If you were me, what would you do? I want there to be peace between us and I love him so much it actually hurts to think of him not being in my life. I don't know what I can do, so I agitate him less because even when I'm being what I think is attentive it still somehow annoys him. IDK, what to do? I'm scared he'll end up breaking up with me over something that I don't even know I did. Update. Good morning everyone. I don't know the protocol for updates, so I'll just put this here. I've put end of update at the end of the update so you can tell where this end. I tried to have the conversation with him and it didn't go well. I wrote everything down in a letter and gave it to him too. I was way too anxious to actually say anything, and asked if we could talk about it after he'd read it and he agreed. I poured my heart into the letter, but I think it was the wrong thing to do because he just got really sad when he read it. He said he thought I was signaling to him that I wanted to leave him when I told him I was bi and that's why he was acting the way he was with it. I asked him why he would think that because I've done nothing to make him suspicious of me, and he said it was just something he was irrationally scared of. I thought it was going well, but then I brought up the other controlling stuff like my outfits and him calling me a SL*T, and he said he only started doing that because I wanted to dress in an exposed way when I wasn't out with him, but I got defensive because all I was wearing that day was a crop top with long jeans because it was hot that day and I changed anyways, so it was wrong for him to keep holding that against me. The argument only escalated from there and he started name-calling again, which made me emotional, and he said that I was being childish, self-absorbed, and that he was allowed to expect my GF to not dress like a slut, and was in the middle of telling him how I thought he was being unfair, and he cut me off and ended the conversation by saying I was histrionic, and he can't have a conversation with you when you're like this, and then he just left the room and stopped talking to me, which he knows hurts me. Anyway, after about 10 minutes of silence he just said he was going out and told me not to wait up for him. It's now morning and he still isn't back. Anyway, this morning I almost had a panic attack when I realized he wasn't back. I would have called him but didn't for obvious reasons, so I called my best friend, and after she calmed me down she asked what was going on, so I told her everything that's been happening. And after a long conversation she convinced me to come stay with her family for a bit. She's calling me an Uber and I'm going for a few days to re-evaluate everything. He's so mad at me. I don't know if our relationship can survive this. And honestly, after reading your responses and speaking to my best friend, I don't even know if I want it to survive this anymore. A user in the comments said, "You think this is the best relationship you've ever had? Dude, you need to get out. His behavior is controlling and no matter what you do, it will get worse. You're already bending to his will. He wants you to change clothes, you do. He wants to see texts on your phone, you show him. What's next?" It also sounds like his insecurities and trust issues are some kind of projection. Are you sure you can trust him? With a lot of people that are unfaithful, they become increasingly paranoid. He's annoyed when he doesn't find evidence on your phone because maybe he's hoping you'll do something so he can break up with you instead of you finding out about his actions. Do you go through his phone? I bet if you asked him, he'd freak out and go on a tirade. You need to get away from this man. He's already controlling your life in an extreme way. And also, when he screamed at you for entering the room to bring him snacks. What? You're just okay with that? I understand you love him, but you need to love yourself and get away from this. The next story is titled, Final Update, My 19F BF 22M doesn't trust me anymore. How can I get him to trust me again? Hi everyone. I posted this almost 2 months ago, This has been the worst year of my life, with most people I'd imagine lol, and these past 2 months have been hard too. I just wanted to update and say I broke up with him yesterday. After having a month of space from him, I realize that I can't be in a relationship where I feel like nothing I do is good enough. BC, I'm just not good enough for him and I never will be. IDK, if anyone would ever be good enough for him, TBH. The thought of being single is really scary, and I do feel empty and I do think I'll always live him, but for my sake I think it's for the best it ended. Being without him is better than constantly feeling bad for just existing, I think. Honestly, the scariest thing is before I posted I didn't even think anything was particularly wrong about our relationship. And I thought if it was my fault, BC, it couldn't be his. So, I just wanted to thank the people of this subreddit for waking me up. I was in denial at first, but you guys were right. I'm so thankful for everyone who helped me. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.